KTSW, the student radio station at Texas State, reaches a milestone this year. The station has been on the air for 20 years, and that's a reason to celebrate. Dylan Scott doesn't know whether he'll appeal the ban or just wait it out, but he continues on with his Facebook page, The New Spirit of San Marcos. For Bobcat Update, I'm Burney. To keep up with the growing population, the Kyle Police Department has had to grow as well. They've added motorcycle units, bicycle units to go where the other units can't, and they've even beefed up the tactical unit for special cases. The expansion doesn't stop there. Dylan Scott is known to some as the sun worshipper, or sun god. Others call him Zeus. He's known for some strange antics, usually aimed at the sun, but recently Scott was banned from the park after getting into a fight with Dan Barry, better known as Frisbee Dan.
Dan and I actually used to be friends, because when I started coming to Sewell, I noticed him, right? And who can't? So I actually went over and I started talking to him. He's the one who taught me to throw the Frisbee.
But tensions between the two icons began after a video produced by the University Star described Scott as the Golden Riverman. In the video was an interview with Frisbee Dan that Scott found offensive.
It's sad that somebody actually is that, confused.
Scott says he initially responded by keeping his distance from Frisbee Dan, and he says he asked Frisbee Dan to stay away. Then, one day, a Frisbee landed next to Scott.
I said something to him because he will not respect people's privacy. He will not respect people. I called him an insect.
After that, Scott shoved Frisbee Dan, and Dan ran to notify the university police. The result of it all is that a criminal trespass complaint was filed against Scott, so now he's banned from campus for a year. Scott says the way he sees it, he was being bullied and had to stand up for himself.
I take responsibility for my actions. I was not aware that you can't shove people, especially bullies.
Scott later started a Facebook page to attempt to ban Frisbee Dan from the park too.
There's a bully on our playground and he's out of control.
Frisbee Dan was contacted for an interview but declined to comment because he was told doing so would not be in his best interest. Dylan Scott doesn't know whether he'll appeal the ban or just wait it out, but he continues on with his Facebook page, The New Spirit of San Marcos. For Bobcat Update, I'm Burney. Spring break has come to a close, and the TABC is planning to release 2 new smartphone apps for next spring. One of the apps will simulate intoxication, while the other allows patrons to report establishments that engage in questionable activity. However, some bar owners have questioned the practicality of the reporting method. They're concerned some of the claims will be made up.
I have seen in some newspaper articles where they quote some business owners as having concerns about that. And I guess I want to reassure the business owners that we're not in the business of going out and filing tickets with no more basis than somebody's complaint.
San Marcos bar owners are not strangers to the TABC. Bar managers already report problems to the commission the next day at the TABC office located right on the city square. Taxi's Piano Bar says they aren't threatened at all by the new app because measures are already being taken to ensure compliance.
Anybody that thinks that they're going to report something that I'm not going to report the next day, I don't know, it just seems redundant to me. I mean, but that's fine. I got nothing to hide. You know, as far as I know, there's somebody from the TABC undercover in here every night, and that's the way you got to run your business. I mean, things are going to happen. It's a bar. Violations
can already be reported to TABC through email or telephone. The app will just be one more way to notify TABC of a violation. For Bobcat Update, I'm Burney. The San Marcos Animal Shelter is a safe house for many lovable animals. The shelter now has 32 dogs, 25 cats, and 1 special pot-bellied pig named Ransom. Ransom is a year old and weighs in at 220 pounds. As of Saturday, he had been at the shelter for 2 weeks. Those who would consider adopting him might be interested in knowing that he's housebroken and loves dogs and cats. Since Ransom is such a big pig, he's not allowed to live within the city limits. To see more pictures of animals up for adoption, go to the city's website.